Welcome back to the Deep Dive. So today we're tackling a really extraordinary life, one that's really defined by radical change. We're doing a deep dive into the career and really the life trajectory of the former adult film actress, Stephanie Swift.
Yeah, and this is so much more than just a biography. I mean, when you look at the sources, you see three really distinct acts.
Right.
We're going to trace the journey of Melody Clark, who you would know as Stephanie Swift, from this, prolific, award-winning career.
Yeah.
Then through this massive pivot caused by a health crisis, and then finally into her work today with a Christian outreach ministry. It's an incredible story.
It really is. And to really get the full picture, we have to start at the beginning with the foundations.
Of course.
She was born Melody Maureen Clark, February 7th, 1972, in Louisiana. So very much Southern roots.
Right, which is interesting because you associate her so much with Southern California.
Exactly. And her heritage is also pretty complex. The sources list a whole mix of European ancestry, but also that she was 1/4 Filipino.
And that background, the geography and heritage, it almost takes a back seat to some of the really significant trauma that happened in her early life.
Yeah, the sources are pretty clear about this part.
They are. Her foundation was turbulent, to say the least. Her father died of cancer when she was only 10 years old.
Wow.
And critically, she suffered severe sexual abuse from family members. And this wasn't a single incident. It was ongoing from the age of 1 to 14.
From 1 to 14, that's almost impossible to comprehend. That kind of systemic trauma has to shape everything that comes after.
It has to. And maybe that's what led to the move. The family eventually relocates to Southern California, San Diego area. She went to Bonita Vista Junior in high school there.
And after all that, what's so interesting is that she made a very conventional attempt at, a normal life.
She really did. A very stable career path.
Right. So before she was ever Stephanie Swift, she actually got an associate's degree.
In dental assistance.
Yeah, and became a registered dental assistant. I mean, that's a very traditional service-oriented career.
It is. But that stability, well, it didn't last very long. The sources suggest that by the time she was 19, she'd left that field completely.
And then the transition begins. First, it was about 6 months as a stripper at a club in San Diego, the Body Shop.
And that seems to have been the bridge. From there, she moves into professional nude modeling, and this wasn't just a brief stint.
No, this was for 5 years. She was appearing in big magazines like Club International and Hustler. It almost feels like a 5-year apprenticeship,
Yeah, like she was building an identity, getting comfortable in front of the camera.
Exactly. Setting the stage for 1995 when she makes her debut in the adult film industry.
And once she enters the industry, the pace just explodes. I mean, the sheer volume of her work is something we have to talk about.
It is staggering. The sources, they vary a little bit, but they put her number of starring roles at over 300. And some say it's closer to 500 films.
Between 1995 and 2009.
That's, 14 years?
Yeah.
That is a relentless workload, an industrial pace.
It really is. And in that business, that kind of volume tells you two things. First, huge commercial appeal. The studios knew she was a sure thing.
And second,
just incredible stamina, both, physical and emotional, to keep that up for so long.
We could even pinpoint her first scenes. Her first softcore was for Playboy TV in a movie called Up Close and Dangerous.
Right, and she went straight into hardcore with a film called Space Sirens.
And pretty early on, she got a huge career boost. She signed on as a contract girl with Wicked Pictures. For listeners who might not know the industry structure, can you explain why a contract like that, especially with a studio like Wicked, is such a big deal?
Oh, it's a massive milestone. It signals stability, for one. Higher budgets, better quality productions. It also means the studio is investing in you, in your brand.
So you move out of the sort of freelance hustle.
Exactly. You're not just working anymore. You're a major asset, a protected one.
And that status, it translated almost immediately into awards. The accolades came so fast.
They really did. She didn't have to wait long at all. The absolute peak of her success, critically speaking, was 1998.
That's when she won the AVN Female Performer of the Year award.
Which is, the big one. It's often compared to an Oscar, but I'd argue it's even more demanding.
Oh, so?
Because it's not for just one performance. It recognizes the performer who showed the most range, versatility, and just overall impact across their entire body of work for that year.
So it's an award for sustained excellence. For market dominance, really.
Totally. It's saying you were the most valuable performer in the entire industry that year.
And in 98, she didn't just win that. For the film Miscreants, she won AVN Best Actress and also the XRCO Award for Best Girl Scene.
Right, with Tiffany Minks and Gina Fine. So it shows she had mastery of solo work and collaborative scenes. The critics loved her.
But the fans did too. That's what's so important.
Yeah, she also won the FOXE Award. That's Fans of X-Rated Entertainment for Female Fan Favorite that same year.
So she had both critical acclaim and popular appeal. That combination just cemented her place at the very top.
But she wasn't just a performer. She was also thinking like a business person.
Right. In 2004, she launches Swift Entertainment.
Which is a really significant move. It showed she wanted to get behind the camera to control her own narrative.
And her own money.
And her own money, for sure. The sources say she directed 2 films. She was writing, producing. She was evolving from talent into like a power broker.
So she's managing this whole portfolio, performing, directing, and still doing appearances on the exotic dancing circuit.
Total immersion.
And all of this work leads to the ultimate recognition, the Hall of Fame inductions.
Yeah, first the AVN Hall of Fame in 2006, then the XRCO Hall of Fame in 2008. I mean, that's industry immortality.
But the irony of that timing is just, it's stark.
It really is.
She secures her place in history, her legacy is set, and then literally just months later, her physical health and her whole life, it just comes crashing down.
That timing is so central to understanding the pivot that comes next. In August of 2009, she gets the diagnosis.
Breast cancer in her left breast. And this wasn't something that just slowed her down. It was a full, abrupt stop.
A definitive end to her career. And the sources point out something really sobering here.
The money.
The money. Despite her fame, her status, all those films, the diagnosis immediately led to a public request for medical donations.
It's a really critical detail. It tells you so much about the economic precarity of that industry, even for a top star.
Right. The fame didn't equal a safety net when a catastrophic medical event happened.
And the medical timeline after that was just brutal. Later that same month, August 2009, she has a double mastectomy.
Yeah, and it didn't end there. The test showed the cancer had spread to her lymph nodes, which meant she needed aggressive chemotherapy.
So the fight for her career was completely replaced by a fight for her life.
Entirely. And that fight continued for months. By March 2010, the sources say she had finished chemo and the cancer was in remission.
So she won the physical battle.
She did. But that whole experience, that brush with mortality, it became the catalyst for a change she'd apparently been thinking about for a while.
And she didn't just quietly retire. She took this experience and pivoted into something completely different.
Right. In 2011, she officially launches this new chapter of her life with a video for an organization called XXXchurch.com.
This was her big public announcement.
It was, explaining why she was walking away from everything she had built for the last decade and a half.
And the reason she gives is so powerful, especially when you think about all those awards.
Yeah.
She said the industry gave her a false sense of accomplishment.
That one phrase just says it all, doesn't it?
It does.
To have reached the absolute pinnacle Hall of Fame, entrepreneurship, and still feel that the accomplishment was false, it suggests this huge disconnect between her public identity and her inner reality.
Like no amount of success could fill whatever void was there.
Exactly. And the title of that video is maybe the most profound statement of all.
Cancer saved my life.
Yeah. I mean, what a complete inversion of how we normally think about a life-threatening illness.
It's a radical reframing.
Yeah.
She sees the thing that almost killed her, not as a tragedy, but as her salvation.
The only thing strong enough to pull her off a path she felt trapped on?
So let's talk about what she does now. She works with XXXchurch.com, a Christian outreach group. What's their mission exactly?
Well, their mission is really dual-focused. And this is where her personal experience is so relevant. They work on both sides of the industry she was once at the center of.
Meaning they help the performers and the consumers.
Exactly. On one hand, the ministry offers help, spiritual guidance, transitional aid to performers who want to leave the industry. Her experience gives her instant credibility there.
She's walked that path.
She's walked it successfully. And then on the other side, they work with people who are struggling with compulsive porn use.
So addiction.
Yeah, addiction. They offer resources, support groups, a faith-based path to recovery. And her involvement is key because she can speak with authority about the reality of the content, sort of dispelling the fantasy.
It's a complete 180-degree turn.
It really is.
Her life now is dedicated to addressing the problems created by the industry that once made her famous. She's using the name she built in one world to serve a mission in a totally different one.
She's leveraging the notoriety of Stephanie Swift to give Melody Clark a new voice. It's a remarkable repurposing of a public identity.
So this deep dive has taken us on, just a sweeping arc, from childhood trauma in Louisiana through this meteoric rise to the top of her field, only for it all to be ended by a health crisis that forced a total transformation.
The scope of that change is just immense, moving from, like you said, one of the most secular forms of celebrity you can imagine, to a deeply spiritual ministry. And it all hinges on that one phrase.
Cancer saved my life.
Yeah.
And that's really the thought we want to leave you with today. It raises a pretty important question for you to think about.
Mm-hmm.
When a traumatic, near-fatal event like a cancer diagnosis is framed by the person who lived through it as the thing that saved their life, what does that really tell us about the value they placed on the life and the identity and all the success they were forced to leave behind?
It suggests that our definition of a fulfilling life is, it's entirely internal. It often has very little to do with the external measures of fame or success that we see. It's a powerful lesson in what it means to redefine your own purpose.